Welcome back. Now let's revise offences and penalties. A very important chapter. Institute has time and again asked questions from this particular chapter. So you need to be very strong in this chapter. The first one is section 122, which has various clauses from 122.1 to 122.3. 122 subsection 1 deals with 21 kind of offences. Some examples are supplying goods or services without invoice, invoices without supply of goods or services, merely fake invoices, availing ITC of the fake invoice. Section 20, that is ISD provisions, contravene, collects tax but fails to pay it, TDS or TCS not done, fraudulent refund, fails to obtain registration, obstructs an officer, fails to maintain books of accounts. Lot of prosecution provisions also included in penalty. Now you'll find that these are also there in prosecution, but don't mix up the provisions. Penalty provisions and prosecution provisions are similar but not same. This is much wider because penalty is applicable in much more cases compared to prosecution, and the penalty in all these cases of erroneous refund or any of the violations would be 10,000 or tax evaded, TDS, TCS not made, ITC or fraudulent refund, whichever is higher. So higher of 10,000 or tax amount. Will we double 10,000 for IGST? The answer is yes. Will we double the tax? The answer is no. 122.1a was specifically brought to cover those who were helpers to fake invoicing, and it says first 4 cases. If in first 4 cases a person is involved and he helps to execute this and retains some benefit out of all these transactions, then in that case penalty can apply to the extent of tax evaded or ITC passed on thereof. First 4 only, that is goods without invoice, invoices without goods, taking ITC on fake invoices, or ISD provisions contravened. So any person who retains the benefit and at whose instance these transactions were done for first 4 cases will be covered by 122.1a. Then 122.1b, which is on the e-commerce operator. If the e-commerce operator allows unregistered person to supply other than those which are allowed to supply online. So if a e-commerce operator allows an unregistered person to supply without an enrollment number, or without he having a PAN, or without he taking registration on the common portal with enrollment number, not a regular registration but as a enrollment number, then in that case ECO will be liable, and the penalty on ECO is 10,000 or tax applicable on such transactions carried out by such person, whichever is higher. And the tax will not be composition tax. Tax will be as tax applicable to a regular taxpayer. That means, say suppose an unregistered person sells online who is not allowed to sell, and ECO does not check it. So 1 lakh into 18%, 18,000. Now this 18,000 will be recovered from this particular person, that is the e-commerce operator who allowed him to supply. Okay, then allows interstate supply. Interstate supply is completely disallowed. If he allows interstate supply, still same thing will apply. And not reporting sales by unregistered person in GSTR 8 correctly, because e-commerce operator who is liable to collect TCS is required to file GSTR 8. If he does not file his GSTR 8 correctly, reporting supplies made by unregistered person against 10,000 or tax chargeable on such goods as a regular taxpayer. Careful. And obviously the higher amount will be applicable. Then 122.2 talks about other than FMS and FMS. Now if there is a section 73-74 question, then go by 73-74. If there is other than 73, 74 question which generally talks about a crime, then you apply 122. Other than FMS, higher of 10,000 or 10%, and FMS higher of 10,000 or tax due. 122.3 is very normal penalty, 25,000, which is for a person who is a helper in 122.1 crimes, fails to appear before officer where summon was issued, improper invoices being issued. 122.3 penalty up to 25,000. This is CGST. Same way IGST will be 50,000. Plus, be very careful. This person was earlier a helper under 122.3 and 25,000 was a very low amount of penalty, and hence government said these 4 big crimes, if you are a helper, then you also have to pay penalty which is equal to the tax evaded. Then 123 information written. If the information written is not given, what's the information written, sir? Information written is, say suppose department seeks some information from RBI or seeks some information from SEBI or this NSC, BSC. They seek information from electricity department saying that how much is the electricity consumed. If they don't give these details, 100 rupees per day or 5,000, whichever is lower. 124 deals with fine. Fine for not furnishing information under 151. 151 you will see in miscellaneous provision where information can be called upon by the commissioner. In fact, they can call upon some information from the common portal, that is GST network also. If the person from whom information is sought doesn't give it, then fine will be 10,000. If it's a continuing offense, then 100 rupees per day, maximum 25,000. And general penalty for any crime which is not covered here will be maximum 25,000. Now wherever it is up to, that is maximum, that means officer has a discretion. He can waive it off or he can keep it lower. But wherever it is a percentage of amount and it's a fixed amount, then in that case officer does not have a discretion. Plus, the law also talks about section 126 minor breach. If there is a minor breach, that is documentation error or tax amount is less than 5,000, not exactly 5,000, less than 5,000, then penalty will be 0. But this is applicable only in case where it's a discretion which is given, not a fixed amount. Now, there is one important circular which you should know. Now, say suppose A issues fake invoice without supply of goods or services to B. Can tax be recovered from A? No, because he has not made a supply at all. So, the penalty will be under section 122 for issue of fake invoice, which is equivalent to the tax evaded. Now, B there can be case 1, case 2. Case 1 actually supplies goods or services and uses ITC. He actually supplies. Now he is making an actual supply and using that ITC which he wrongly availed. Then section 74 notice will come for recovery of that tax which is ITC wrongly availed, and penalty under 122 will apply for using this ITC which is based on fake invoice. Case 2. Case 2 passes ITC to Mr. C without supply of goods or services. B is also just passing ITC. He has also not supplied any goods or services. Then will tax recovery happen from B? No, because B is only issuing fake invoices. So on B there will not be any section 74 notice. There will only be penalties. 122 penalty for issuing fake invoice and 122 penalty for taking fake ITC. Then again C, there can be 2 scenarios and the chain can go on. A very important circular case study. Writing practice is required for this kind of question. Okay, then let's now talk about 129. Institute has asked questions on this. 129. If a vehicle is carrying goods without proper documentation, can the officer stop it? Yes. Can the officer levy penalty. Yes. So for releasing such goods, if the person comes forward, then the penalty is 200% of tax. If the person does not come forward, then the penalty will be 50% of the value or 200% of tax, whichever is higher. And this 50% is of CGST Act. So if the question is talking about CGST Act, just write 50%. If the question is talking about IGST Act, double this 50% because it is 50% of value. Value does not automatically get doubled when you use IGST. Don't double 200% of tax because 200% of tax automatically gets doubled. Then if it is exempt goods, if he comes forward, taxpayer comes forward saying that these are my goods, then 2% of value or 25,000, whichever is lower. If taxpayer does not come forward, that means we are not aware who is he, then 5% of the value or 25,000, whichever is lower, because exempted goods, it can never be higher. Okay. Now, notice will be issued within 7 days of detention. Order will be passed within 7 days from notice. If you fail to pay within 15 days, then it will lead to sale of goods and there is an auction process. And if it is perishable hazardous goods, then it can be sold any time, even before 15 days expiry. Conveyance, the penalty on conveyance is penalty under section 129, that is whatever we read now, or 1 lakh, whichever is lower. And this is CGST Act. So again, you will have to double it for IGST. Okay. Section 130 deals with confiscation. Confiscation in 4 crimes. 1. Supplier or recipient where there is an intention to evade tax. Any other case, and this is supplies or receives goods with an intention to supplies or receives goods or services with an intention to evade tax, or any other provision contravened with an intention to evade tax, does not account for the goods, and last one, fails to obtain registration with an intent to evade tax. So in all these cases, confiscation, the goods will be confiscated, department will get the right over those goods. Can it be released? Yeah, the department has to give an option to pay redemption fine and get your goods released. What is the maximum redemption fine? Market value of the goods minus tax payable. Minimum redemption fine is fine plus penalty under section 122 shall not be less than 100% of the tax. So normally penalty under section 122 is 100% of tax. So this 100% would get cancelled, and fine minimum amount is actually 0 if it is a case of fraud. And if you notice section 130, the provisions are such that all the cases are actually fraud cases. Okay, now coming to 132, prosecution. You'll find the point similar, but it is not same as 122. This is prosecution where jail proceedings can be initiated. First one is goods or services without invoice. Second one is invoice without goods or services. Takes ITC on invoice issued by Mr. B, or ITC without invoice. That is also done where without any documentation people are taking ITC. Or collects GST but does not pay to government for 3 months. There can be fraudulent exporters, falsification of records, there is a 6-month imprisonment applicable. Helpers of goods like transporter, etc. Helper of service, commission agent who helped in carrying out all these crimes. And last, abets, a person who encourages in all these cases. Now all these people can go to jail depending on tax evaded or ITC fraud. If it is more than 1 crore but up to 2 crore, then only in B meaning this one, invoice without goods or services. Fake invoicing is the only crime where even if 2 crore is not crossed, jail can happen. Imprisonment can happen for 1 year for this particular case. Minimum is 6 months. 2 crore to 5 crore, 3 years. This is for any of the crimes. More than 5 crore, 5 years. And all cases minimum is 6 months. No arrest up to 2 crores. Sir, what's the difference between imprisonment and arrest? Imprisonment is criminal court will decide as to what will be the punishment. Arrest is preventive arrest, trying to stop the person from going away. Up to 2 crore, no arrest. More than 2 and up to 5, only A, B, C, D offences. A, B, C, D, not other cases. Other cases, imprisonment provisions can apply. Criminal court proceedings can be initiated. He cannot be arrested as a preventive on a preventive arrest case. More than 5 crore, again A, B, C, D. What's the type of offense? Type of offense which is dangerous. Non-cognizable and bailable, or cognizable and non-bailable. Which is more harsh as per you? Sir, cognizable and non-bailable is more harsh. Correct. Because non-bailable does not mean you will not get bail. You will get bail only with the approval of the magistrate. But non-cognizable and bailable, the person who is arrested, he only can grant bail. Then why did he arrest? Just to scare. Okay. First case, up to 2 crores, non-cognizable, bailable. Up to 5 crores, non-cognizable, bailable. More than 5 crores, only A, B, C, D is cognizable and non-bailable. All others are non-cognizable and bailable. Subsequent offense, any of these. First, already convicted, suffered jail term, came out, again doing crime, cognizable and non-bailable. Because second subsequent offense, no relief at all, and next time the jail will be 5 years, minimum 6 months. Clear with this? Okay. Now, the next discussion is compounding of offense. Now, before or after institution of prosecution, can the person not go to jail by paying amount? Yes, it is allowed. Before or after institution of prosecution, not before conviction. See, before prosecution meaning case has not yet started. After prosecution meaning case has started in the criminal court, but criminal court has not given a judgment. Because if criminal court gives a judgment, then he is already convicted, then he cannot get a relief. After prosecution, but before the final conviction. Now, 4 cases, compounding is not allowed. A to F HIL. What is this A to F HIL? All these are covered. A to F HIL. These are the clauses. A to F HIL, if it is allowed earlier, then compounding is not allowed second time. That means A to F HIL, you will get compounding only once. Next time you will never get compounding. For B, no compounding. See, they should have mentioned here A to H excluding B. They should have mentioned, but they have mentioned in second point that B, there is no compounding. Which is B, sir? B is the most dangerous crime in the eyes of law, and that is fake invoicing. Invoices being issued without supply of goods or services. Third, he is not yet convicted. If he is convicted under this act, then no compounding. Once jail term is given, thereafter compounding cannot be done. Or any other class of persons as may be notified, nothing is notified. How much should he pay to come out? Minimum 25%, maximum 100%, but the law says as may be prescribed. So that means you will not use this in the exam. Then what will we use, sir? We will use whatever is prescribed depending on the crime size. A, C, D, E. Why is B not mentioned? Because B, there is no compounding at all. You are not allowed to compound even once. Other crimes you are allowed once. A, C, D, E. If it is more than 5 crores, 75%, minimum 50%. Sir, which one will we write in exam? Both 75 as well as 50. More than 2 crores up to 5 crores. Then in that case, it will be up to 60%, minimum 40%. FHIL is easy to remember, 25% here, 25% here, 25% here, 25% here. No problem at all to remember this. So be very careful, practice this very well, and you have to recall all these limits in the examination. Recall A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, L. Let me make you recall. A, goods without invoice. B, invoice without goods or services. C, taking ITC of that or taking ITC without any documentation. D, collects an amount, does not pay within 3 months from the day when it is due. E, export, fraudulently exports and claims refund. F, falsification of records. H, helper for goods. I, helper for services. L, abets. Now if you recall this, only then this will be comfortable. So you have to recall A to F and HIL. It's an uphill task, but if you remember the hill, you will be able to. HIL. A to F, hill. A, goods without invoice, invoice without goods, taking fake ITC or ITC without invoices, collects amount but does not pay within 3 months. E, exports, fraudulent refund being claimed. F, falsification of records. Hill, helper for goods, helper for services, and last one is abets in all these crimes. Okay, let's once again go through all these important points. 122(1), various crimes, and the penalty is 10,000 or tax evaded or TDS, TCS or fraudulent export, whichever is higher. 122(1)(a), 4 cases at whose instance these transactions were done and he retains the benefit, penalty equal to tax evaded or ITC passed on. 122(1)(b), for eco, if eco allows someone to sell who is not allowed, if eco allows interstate who is not allowed, or does not report correctly sales of unregistered persons in GSTR 8, penalty 10,000 or tax applicable on such goods or services. 122(2), other than FMS and FMS. 122(3), basically aids or abets, helper. 123, information return. 124, 151, information. 125, general penalty. Minor breach less than 5,000, penalty will be 0. Fake invoicing, be careful. The person who ultimately makes the supply, he will be responsible for section 74 notice. In all other cases, penalty will keep applying and penalty is equivalent to tax evaded. 129 comes forward, 200% of tax, does not come forward, 50% of value or 200% of tax, whichever is higher. Notice will be issued within 7 days, order will be passed within 7 days from the notice. That's the amount of time which you have. If you fail to pay that within 15 days, they will sell the goods. Conveyance, 129 penalty or 1 lakh. And remember, for exempted goods, 2% of value, 5% of value, 25,000, whichever is lower. Redemption fine, maximum market value minus tax payable. Minimum fine plus penalty under 122 should not be less than 100% of the tax. And then 132, various crimes, A to F, HIL. Remember, up to 2 crore, but more than 1 crore, only 1. B. More than 2 crore, up to 5 crore, all cases 3-year jail, 5 minus 2. And more than 5 crore, 5 years, minimum 6 months in all. Arrest only ABCD or subsequent offense, but not below 2 crore. Type of offense, everything is non-cognizable and bailable. ABCD more than 5 crore is cognizable and bailable. Sorry, cognizable and non-bailable. Subsequent offense, cognizable and non-bailable. Falsification, don't forget the 6 months. And compounding, don't forget these limits depending on the quantum and the crime. So crime, if you remember properly, only then you can remember the quantum. So be strong with the quantum. 4 cases where it is not allowed. A to all crimes except B if it is allowed earlier. B, never allowed. Not convicted, any other class of persons. Yes. Okay, see you all in the next video.